I literally want to throw my guitar down and walk away. I can't pretend to have a good time playing it. That's Kurt Cobain, talking about Smells Like Teen Spirit, the song that defined a generation. The song with over 1 billion streams. The song he couldn't stand. He's not alone. Radiohead told fans to fuck off when they asked for Creep. Robert Plant paid $10,000 to a radio station to never play Stairway to Heaven. Bob Dylan abandoned his protest songs entirely and said he had very little in common with the generation he was supposed to be the voice of. These are some of the greatest songs ever written, and the artists who created them, they hate them. Before we dive in, grab yourself a cup of tea, coffee, or maybe something a little stronger. These stories are wild, and you're gonna want to settle in. And hey, if you enjoy deep dives like this one, smash that like button to support the channel. It really helps us out. Alright, let's get into it.
Inevitably anybody, the first song that becomes a hit, everybody caricatures the band from that. We just have to wait to see whether we have a chance to prove that we're not just that.
A band called Radiohead releases their debut single. It's about a guy who's obsessed with a girl he's never spoken to. He calls himself a creep and a weirdo. The BBC refuses to play it because it's too depressing. Then America discovers it, and suddenly Radiohead is everywhere.
But I'm a creep.
There was just one problem. Every single member of the band hated the song. That famous guitar crunch that kicks in before each chorus, the one that makes the song iconic. Guitarist Johnny Greenwood played it on purpose to ruin the take. He hated Creep so much he tried to sabotage it, and it backfired spectacularly. That sabotage became the song's most memorable moment. Thom Yorke once said the band sucked Satan's cock by writing it. He told Rolling Stone in 1993 that he wasn't very happy with the lyrics. He thought they were pretty crap. For years after Creep exploded, Radiohead was trapped. They released The Bends. Critics loved it. People still only wanted to hear Creep. They made OK Computer, a masterpiece that changed music forever. Fans still screamed for Creep. Ed O'Brien described it perfectly. There was a point where they seemed to be living out the same 4.5 minutes of their lives over and over again. It was incredibly stultifying. And so Thom Yorke started fighting back. When fans shouted for Creep at concerts, he'd tell them to fuck off. The band stopped playing it entirely. For nearly a decade, Creep was banned from their set lists. Here's what made it worse. Radiohead wasn't just tired of playing Creep. They were terrified of being defined by it. They were artists who wanted to evolve, to experiment, to create Kid A and In Rainbows. And this one song, this simple, self-loathing ballad from their youth, threatened to trap them in 1992 forever. In 2016 at a concert, someone shouted Creep from the audience. Yorke paused, then said, "This is for the funny guy shouting Creep in the back," only to shock you.
They know it. Somebody knows it. Are you happy? All right then, are you happy? That's all about to change.
And they actually played it. The crowd lost their minds. But the real revenge came in 2021. Yorke released a very 2021 remix of Creep. A 9-minute electronic dirge that one journalist described as a terrifying panic attack of nostalgia and horror. Enjoyably unlistenable. That's not a remix, that's an exorcism. Quick question for you. Have you ever created something that ended up defining you in a way you didn't want? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious.
That wasn't Smell Like Teen Spirit. Isn't that from a deodorant commercial or something? Is that where you guys got it from?
No, we didn't get it from that. We found that out later. No,
Yeah.
Pure coincidence.
It is pure coincidence, yeah.
Now let's talk about Kurt Cobain, because his story captures everything we're exploring today and takes it somewhere darker. Smells Like Teen Spirit wasn't supposed to change the world. Cobain called it an attempt to write the ultimate pop song by ripping off the Pixies. He thought the riff was cliched, so close to a Boston riff or Louie Louie. When he first played it for bassist Chris Novoselic said it was ridiculous. Cobain made them play it for an hour anyway. Before Teen Spirit exploded, Cobain was living in his car. After it hit, he couldn't go anywhere without being recognized. And he realized something horrifying. The people coming to Nirvana shows weren't the outsiders and misfits he wrote for. They were the jocks, the bullies, the exact people who beat him up in high school. Cobain said he can barely get through Teen Spirit. He literally wants to throw his guitar down and walk away. He can't pretend to have a good time playing it. He started intentionally butchering the song live. He refused to play it at many shows. He said Drain You was just as good, but admitted that if Drain You had been the hit, he probably would have grown to hate that one too. On top of the pops, when forced to mime along to a backing track, Cobain sang in a deliberately terrible low voice, mumbled the lyrics, made a mockery of the whole thing. Watch the footage. It's not rebellion, it's misery. Dave Grohl later said Kurt probably wanted to sell 20 million records and be the biggest band in the world, but he sure didn't want all the baggage that came along with it. Nobody did. Smells Like Teen Spirit was supposed to be an inside joke. The title came from graffiti on Cobain's wall. His friend wrote Kurt smells like Teen Spirit because he'd been dating a girl who wore Teen Spirit deodorant. It wasn't supposed to mean anything. And then it meant everything. To everyone except the person who wrote it. In his final note, Cobain wrote, "Why don't you just enjoy it? I don't know." He was talking about music, about performing, about the very thing that had given him everything, and taken everything in return. If you're still with me, let me know which story is hitting hardest so far, Radiohead or Cobain. Comment below.
When our record label came down to hear the thing, well, I think Wonderwall's like the third track on the album or something. And after it finished, all the people from Sony and Creation all looked at each other and just went, "That's it. That's going to be the hit." And we were like, "What? What about this other one about cannons and cannonballs and all that?" Yeah. They're like, "Yeah, don't worry about that. This is the one." And they were
so
all
they knew. They got it.
All right, let's lighten things up a bit, because this next story is more funny than tragic. Picture this: you're Noel Gallagher. You walk into any bar, any city in the world, London, Tokyo, Buenos Aires, and the moment someone spots you, what happens? Every single time for 30 years. Here's what's hilarious and kinda sad about Wonderwall. Noel Gallagher has called it one of his least favorite songs, because in his words, it's not finished. He told Mojo magazine that if he could somehow twist time, he'd pick a different song as their calling card. Probably, some might say. The entire Morning Glory album was rushed. No demos. Noel was writing songs on tour, planning to finish them in the studio. They never got around to it. And somehow that half-finished song became the anthem of a generation. But here's where it gets better. His brother Liam, the one who actually has to sing it, hated it from day one. When Noel first played it for him, Liam called it trip-hop, said it sounded nothing like Oasis. Noel's response? You're singing one or the other. Wonderwall or Don't Look Back in Anger, but not both. Liam chose Don't Look Back in Anger, and now, decades later, both brothers are stuck performing a song neither of them wanted. Noel once admitted that he doesn't much like Wonderwall, but the effect that song has on people, he can't deny it.
It's not one of my favourites, but it is a great song.
And that's the curse. You can hate your creation, but when 50,000 people are singing it back to you with tears in their eyes, how do you walk away from that? Real talk, what song do you think is overplayed but you still secretly love? Tell me in the comments. Stairway to Heaven, 8 minutes of rock perfection. The song that's been called the greatest rock song ever written. The song that sold millions of albums despite never being released as a single. And the song that Robert Plant once paid $10,000 to a radio station to promise they'd never play again. That's not a joke. Plant was driving through Portland when he heard about a community radio station, KBOO, that was seeking sponsors. Their promise? Donate and they'll guarantee to never play Stairway to Heaven. Robert Plant called them up, became their biggest donor. His hatred goes back decades. In 1988, he told the Los Angeles Times that he'd break out in hives if he had to sing at every show. He wrote those lyrics and found that song to be of some importance in 1971. But 17 years later, it just wasn't for him anymore. Same year, he called it pompous in Q magazine. Here's how bad it got. The night before Led Zeppelin was scheduled to play their reunion at the Atlantic Records 40th anniversary show, Plant called Jimmy Page. "I'm not gonna sing Stairway to Heaven." Page was shocked. But that's exactly the one everybody expects us to do. That was the problem. Plant had built an entire solo career trying to escape Zeppelin's shadow. The last thing he wanted was to sing about bustles and hedgerows like they still meant something to him at age 40. He played it anyway. but you could see it in his eyes.
There's a lady shoe, all the glitters is gold, and she's buying the stairway to heaven.
For the next 19 years, he avoided the song almost completely. At the 2007 reunion concert, he insisted it be placed in the middle of the set. No fanfare, no build-up, just get it over with.
Your head is hungry and it won't go, but you don't know.
In 2019, Plant explained that the song belongs to a particular time.
But they were coming out of the mind of a 23-year-old guy, you know, and it landed in the years and the era of 23-year-old guys. And I think as time goes on, you find that you may find another period of your life has got a little bit more substance or is more relative later on down the line, you know. So as much as I like it, I'm not wedded to that whole deal now.
That's the tragedy. Stairway to Heaven captured a moment of youthful transcendence, but Robert Plant kept aging. This song didn't. And then there's Jimmy Page, who considers it his masterpiece. He told Rolling Stone that he thought Stairway crystallized the essence of the band. Same song, completely opposite feelings. That tension defined Led Zeppelin for decades. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, now's a great time to subscribe. We do deep dives like this every week.
Oh, do you consider yourself a politician?
Do I consider myself a politician? Well, I guess so. I have my own party, though. No, there's no presidents in the party. There's no presidents or vice presidents or secretaries or anything like that, so it makes it kind of hard to get in.
This one's different, because Bob Dylan didn't just hate one song, he hated an entire identity. In the early 1960s, Dylan wrote some of the most influential protest songs ever created. Blowin' in the Wind, The Times They Are A-Changin', songs that became anthems for the civil rights movement, for anti-war protesters, for an entire generation that saw him as their prophet.
The answer, my friend, is a blowing in the wind. Be later to win, for the times they are a-changin'.
And Dylan, he wanted nothing to do with any of it. Just before performing Blowin' in the Wind at the March on Washington in 1963, Dylan told the crowd, "This here ain't a protest song, 'cause I don't write no protest songs." Nobody believed him. By 1964, Dylan was already trying to escape. He told Phil Oakes, another folk singer who kept writing protest music, "The stuff you're writing is bullshit, because politics is bullshit. You're wasting your time." Then came Newport 1965. Dylan walked onto the stage at the folk festival with an electric guitar and a rock band. The crowd, who had come to see their acoustic prophet, booed. The legend says Pete Seeger tried to cut the power cables with an axe. Whether that's true or not, the message was clear. Dylan was done being what everyone wanted him to be. In his memoir Chronicles, Dylan wrote that rogue radicals looking for the Prince of Protest would show up at his home in Woodstock. He said he had very little in common with, and knew even less about a generation that he was supposed to be the voice of. Think about that. The most celebrated songwriter of his era, the man who won a Nobel Prize for Literature, rejected the very songs that made him famous. When asked why he abandoned message songs and whether he'd lost interest in protest, Dylan's response was blunt. "I just didn't have any interest in protest to begin with." He didn't hate Blowin' in the Wind or The Times They Are A-Changin', the way Thom Yorke hates Creep. He still performs them occasionally. But he spent 60 years proving he was more than those songs, more than a label someone else put on him. Most artists on this list hate being defined by one song. Dylan hated being defined by an entire movement. Last story, and it's about the cruelest irony of all. Material Girl wasn't just a song for Madonna. It became her prison. In 2015, she was asked about her favorite and least favorite songs. Her answer, "My least favorite is Material Girl. I never ever want to hear it again."
What Madonna song are you most sick of and never want to hear again?
Material Girl. No.
Here's the thing, Madonna didn't even write the song. It was given to her by songwriters Peter Brown and Robert Rands, and it was meant to be satire, a commentary on Reagan-era consumerism. The music video literally shows her character rejecting diamonds and fancy cars for a guy with flowers and a beat-up truck. But nobody got the irony. The media saw a blonde woman singing about wanting money, and they had their story. Madonna said she can't completely disdain the song and the video because they certainly were important to her career, but talk about the media hanging on a phrase and misinterpreting the damn thing. She didn't write that song, and the video was about how the girl rejected diamonds and money, but God forbid irony should be understood. She added, "So when I'm 90 I'll still be the material girl. I guess it's not so bad. Lana Turner was the sweater girl until the day she died." Madonna spent 40 years reinventing herself. Like a Prayer, Vogue, Ray of Light, constant evolution. And still, every profile, every introduction, the material girl. When she performs it now, which is rare, she mocks it. On the Blonde Ambition tour, she and her backup singers performed it dressed as old ladies. That's not celebration, that's revenge. There's a pattern here. Every artist we've talked about, Radiohead, Nirvana, Oasis, Led Zeppelin, Bob Dylan, Madonna, they all created something that transcended their intentions. They wrote songs that stopped belonging to them the moment the world heard them. And that's the paradox of creating art that matters. The bigger it gets, the less it's yours. Creep isn't Thom Yorke's song anymore. It belongs to every awkward kid who's ever felt like they didn't belong. Smells Like Teen Spirit isn't Kurt Cobain's song. It belongs to a generation that needed an anthem. Wonderwall isn't Noel Gallagher's song. It belongs to every drunk person at 2 a.m. who needs to feel something. Maybe that's why these artists hate these songs. Not because the songs are bad, they're clearly not, but because every time they perform them, they're reminded that their greatest creation was never really theirs to begin with. Alright, final question for you. Which of these stories surprised you the most? And is there an artist you think I should have included? Let me know in the comments. If you made it this far, thank you. Seriously, it means a lot. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. I'll see you in the next video.